Section 1.4, solving absolute value equations. We start off with one vocabulary term, and that would be absolute value. I'm not sure if you've heard that one before. Absolute value is simply a number's distance from zero. So think about driving a car, that odometer that keeps track of your mileage. If you drive backwards, that thing doesn't go down. And if you start at zero with a brand new car and you drive backwards, you're not going to get to negative miles. Okay, so an absolute value is a number's distance from zero, and it can't be negative. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples. So if I had the absolute value of 2, an absolute value is denoted with 2 vertical brackets. That's not 121 right there. That is the absolute value of 2. If I asked for the absolute value of 2, well, how far is 2 away from 0? And the answer there is 2. Okay, so if we think about the absolute value of -3, how far away is -3 from 0 on the number line? So if I draw a number line, here's 0, -1, -2, -3, going on forever, 1, 2, 3. How far away is -3 from 0? Well, 1, 2, it is 3 units away. Okay, so the absolute value of -3 is +3. Okay, last one here, absolute value, whoops, let me go back and do that one in black. Absolute value of 0, that's not 101, that's the absolute value of 0. How far away is 0 from 0? Well, it's on 0. So if I'm asking how far away is 0 from 0, then the answer there is 0. It's 0 units away from 0. Okay? So we're going to keep that idea in mind as we start solving equations that have absolute value brackets in them. Okay? So let me give you a couple of examples here. I'll handwrite the direction here, solve, and we'll start with number 1. The absolute value of x is equal to 2. Okay? So I'm looking for an x value that has an absolute value of 2. What we're really asking here is what number is 2 units away from 0? From 0 on the number line. Okay, so if I draw a number line, here's 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. Well, what number is 2 units away from 0? So if I start at 0 and go 2 units to the right, 1, 2, my answer there is 2. But I could also go 2 units to the left, 1, 2, and my answer there would be -2. With absolute value equations, you're more than likely going to have 2 answers. A positive one, well, I shouldn't say that, a positive one and a negative one, because that's not always going to be the case. You could have 2 positives, you could have 2 negatives, and I'll give you examples where you could have 2 positives or you could have 2 negatives. Okay, so let's keep that thought in mind. This question right here, what number is a certain number of units away from 0? That's really the question you're asking. Okay, and notice we just drop the brackets, and then we drop the brackets and flip the sign of the number on the outside. That's going to be kind of a key part to this whole thing here. Number 2, how about the absolute value of a is equal to 17? Okay, again, ask yourself, what number or numbers is or are 2 units away from 0? Well, we know that the first one, pretty easy, 17. If we go 17 units from 0 to the right, that puts us at +17. If we go 17 units to the left from 0, that would give us -17. Okay, so there are 2 answers there, +17, -17. Now this one, how about the absolute value of b is equal to -1? If we go back to our definition of absolute value, it's a number's distance from 0, and specifically this part, it can't be negative. So what you're saying here with this equation here is what number or numbers are -1 units away from 0? And that doesn't make sense. Okay, there's no numbers that are -1 units away from 0. If we think about this number line right up here, you know, where's -1? Okay, there's 1, but that's 1. That's a distance of 1. Go that way, that's also a distance of 1. There's no such thing as negative distance. There's no -1 units. So your answer here for number 3 is no solution. It's not possible. to have a number with an absolute value of -1. Okay, so remember this is the symbol for no solution. If you want to write out the words no solution, that's fine too. You could do that, but you don't have to. Okay, just be aware that if you've got brackets by itself and it's equal to a negative number, it's probably not going to work because that's implying that you have a negative distance, and that's just not possible. All right, let's try something a little more difficult. Number 4 here. How about the absolute value of x minus 1 is equal to 4? All right, here's how I'm going to recommend that you think about this. X minus 1, this number inside, or this expression inside the absolute value bracket, it stands for a number. We don't know what it is, but it's a number. Okay, so we know that the absolute value of, let's just say this was A. If we had the absolute value of A is equal to 4, well, we know that A has to be either equal to 4 or A has to be equal to -4. Okay, what's on the inside has to be equal to either the number on the outside or the opposite of the number on the outside. Okay, well, what did we have as A? Well, we said A was x minus 1 equals 4, and A was x minus 1 equals -4. Okay, so really what we're doing, and if this whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense, just think of it, go from the top line down to the bottom line. Okay, we want the inside to either be equal to 4 or equal to -4, because if x minus 1 is equal to 4, if this becomes 4, then the absolute value of 4 is 4. And if this was equal to -4, the absolute value of -4 is equal to +4. So we have our two solutions. We do or will have two answers here again for problem number 4 here. So these are each one-step equations right here and right here. It's the same step, but we're going to have two different answers. Okay, so if we add 1 to both sides, x is equal to 5, and if we add 1 to the other side on the second equation, we get x equals -3. So we have two answers. But we said numbers can't be negative. Well, not quite. If you think back, whoops, let me go back to the other page, we did have some negative answers, +2 or -2, -17, very possible. What we don't want to have negatives is this number right here. That one is the one that we don't want to be negative. Let's try another one like that. Number 5. How about the absolute value of 3x plus 1 is equal to 5? Okay? Absolute value of 3x plus 1 is equal to 5. Again, let's skip the A part here like we did up top. We know that the inside, 3x plus 1, in order for the absolute value of it to be 5, that whole thing, 3x plus 1, has to be equal to 5, or 3x plus 1 has to be equal to -5. It's got to be one or the other. Okay? Again, we have a two-step equation, actually two of them, and the steps to solving them both are the same, but our answers are going to be different just because one's equal to 5, one's equal to -5. Okay, so the first step, we're going to subtract 1, 3x is equal to 4, subtract 1, 3x is equal to -6. Our steps are the same, divide both sides by 3, divide both sides by 3, 3's cancel, x equals, 3's cancel, x equals, -6. I'm on the right hand side here. -6 divided by 3 is -2, and, whoops, want the arrow here, 4 divided by 3. Not a good number, it's a repeating decimal. Just leave it as a fraction, 4 over 3. It's simplified, that's perfectly acceptable for me, 4/3 and -2. Okay, let's give another one a shot here. This is problem number 6, example number 6. Absolute value of 3 plus x is equal to -5. Right away, I see -5 outside the absolute value bracket, so I've got alarm bells going off that's saying this probably isn't going to work. Because think about it, the absolute value of something, whatever it is, has to be 5 units away from, -5 units away from 0. That's not possible. You can't have a negative distance. So this answer right away, no solution, and you're done. That's the answer, no solution, because there's no way you could come up with a number that has an absolute value of -5. There's no number with an absolute value of -5. There's no number with an absolute value of negative anything. It's not possible to have a negative absolute value. Okay, let's try another one here. Number 7, the absolute value of 3x plus 9. And that's where you close the bracket. And then -10 is equal to negative 4. Now, this one has a negative outside or on the other side, but we can't make the determination of whether it's no solution yet because we have this. We have the minus 10 outside the bracket on the other side of the equal sign. Okay, so the first thing you need to do here is get the bracket alone. Get the bracket alone. If we can get the bracket by itself and then it's equal to a negative number, then we're not going to have a solution. But we don't have the bracket by itself right now, so we can't make that call yet. Okay, so let's get rid of the minus 10 by adding 10 to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to have the absolute value of 3x plus 9, whoops, that's a bracket, not a parenthesis, is equal to negative 4 plus 10 is positive 6. Now, it's equal to a positive number, which means we're going to have solutions, plural, 2 of them. Okay, this is now just like this problem right here, number 5. Okay, very similar. Okay, what's on the inside, 3x plus 9 has to be either equal to 6 or it's got to be equal to negative 6. And now they're two-step equations. Subtract 9, subtract 9, subtract 9, subtract 9. 3x is equal to 6 minus 9 is negative 3. 3x is equal to negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15. Divide both sides by 3. Positive 3's. X equals negative 1. X equals negative 5. 2 negative answers, but both are perfectly acceptable. Negative answers are okay, we just don't want negative absolute values. That one is not possible. Okay, let's try one more. Number 7, or sorry, this is number 8. Number 8, 3, absolute value, 2x plus 5, absolute value is closed there, plus 10 is equal to 37. If you want to try this on your own, feel free to pause the video, give it a shot, and then I'll talk you through it once you're done. If you get stuck midway through, go ahead and play the video and see if you can keep or get to where, or see if I get to where you got to, and then we can work on it together. Okay? So, first thing we need to do, we need to get the bracket by itself. We can almost think of this, the absolute value bracket, as a variable, like 3x plus 10 is equal to 37. Okay, so we want to get the bracket by itself. First thing we need to do is get rid of the 10. Minus 10, minus 10. So 3, absolute value of 2x plus 5 is equal to 37 minus 10 is 27. Okay, so the plus 10 on the end is gone. Now we need to get rid of the 3 out front. 3's cancel. Absolute value of 2x plus 5. Make those a little bigger. 27 divided by 3 is 9. We've got a positive, we've got the bracket by itself, it's equal to a positive number, it means we have solutions, 2 of them. So let's go ahead and split this apart. 2x plus 5, that's an x, is equal to 9, or 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 9. Okay, two-step equations, minus 5, minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. 2x equals 9 minus 5 is 4. 2x equals negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 2. And x is equal to negative 7.